Hello tubes. Well, today's project is to get this belt onto this Toro. This Toro personal case with a rear wheel drive, and the fact that it's rear wheel drive, it does make it a little bit more difficult. I've already done a little work. I took the blade off, I took the baffle off, took the rear wheels off. The next thing I have to do to get to put the belt back here is I have to take this bar off, which is held on by these screws, these bolts I mean, and then I will be able to get this belt guide off. It's held on my two bolts. There's one here and there's one on the back, and then I can get this belt on. Now again, this is a Toro personal pace. It is an older Toro personal pace, probably from 2003 or something, or 2004. So it takes a different size belt than the modern ones. I looked it up and I got this belt, unbranded belt. It's not a Toro belt, but it's the right size, off eBay for like $3 or $4 plus shipping. So, whereas a Toro branded one is like 15 bucks. Okay, I'll cut in when I start getting into this. Another thing I gotta do is I gotta take these bolts off for this belt guide, and these bolts also serve as the engine mount bolts. There's one here that'll remain, so hopefully the engine won't move. I cannot get this adapter off to get to the pulley because it is seized on. Here tubes, since I've taken that bar off that goes from here to here, I can then get in here to rotate this. This screw is easy to get off. However, the one back here is harder, but the way you get to it is once you've taken this off, you push this a little bit more and it will rotate to a place where you can barely get into there. Kind of got the belt on. What you got to do is when you put the belt on, you leave this side with all the slack, and then when you rotate it over, you can then push it out, pull it out. Also, to rehook this spring here for the personal pace, which controls the speed, you should disconnect up there the wire so you get some more slack to work with. Then you can put it back later. Okay? Tubes, because of this is seized on, I can't get it off. I'm gonna actually have to remove all the engine bolts and kind of wrap this and get this in there while I put the engine back on. So, tubes, got the belt on. I had to take the this blade, I had to take the engine off and kind of hold it while I wrap this belt around the adapter here to slide it on. It's a lot of work, more work than usual, because usually you just have to take this off and then wrap it in and put this back. But when it's fused on, the only way you can do it is take the engine off and kind of put the belt on as you put the engine on, which makes it kind of difficult. Tubes. Well, I got this back together and it didn't work right. It's like it was the opposite of what it needed to be. Well, thinking that I had done something wrong down here, I didn't. This belt is actually good. I checked schematics online to make sure make sure this, all the way I was putting it was right. Turned out, and I feel like an idiot. This goes here, not here, and just realized that that's got a little bit of a crack to it. That's not good. Anyway, hello tubes, back here with this hybrid Frankenstein Toro with a Craftsman engine. And I have the mulch plug in it. this bag here, the Murray bag, it will fit it. So I got the new belt in there, put the wheels back on, you know, yeah, so far it seems to work, although it seems that when it's not on, pushing it is really hard with this one wheel. It doesn't seem to move. But when the self-propelled work on, it works fine. So I'll give you a little start here. This will be the final look of this one. This one's been, I've had this mower for a while, and this since the excuse me, I had to get some water. Since the personal pace worked in it, I always kept it thinking that I get an engine for it, and I got this Craftsman engine for it. This Briggs and Stratton. Rebuilt the carburetor, changed, and had to put a new float bowl in it too. But sharpened the blade. Now I have this thing up on a block so I can start it and have the wheels just turn. Primer style. Got to. That's my conclusion of this Toro personal pace. I don't know if I'd ever replace a belt on one again, but it's much more involved than the front wheel drive. Essentially, the key thing is don't take the axle off. Don't take these. There's special washers that they got in there. You have to put them in a certain order. And then I use parched tree for the diagrams to figure out what order they go in. So it's nice to have this one working, and I'm still sad about the Scots with the Tecumseh that blew a connecting rod. It was such a pretty engine, pretty mower. Anyway, for being 19 years old, that's the end of this one, and now I'm gonna go try this out in my brother-in-law's yard. See you later. Back here with this Toro. Previously I had a problem with the self-propelled where I couldn't push it forward when the engine wasn't engaged. Well, figured out what that was. Inside here. And I'll go ahead and take this wheel off to show you. Okay, this is your gearing of the wheel. If you take this out, this gear here, and you put it in backwards, this wheel will not move forward when at rest, and it won't turn. So just letting anybody know it has this problem. I was trying to figure out how to put a new belt on this, and one of the videos I saw had them taking this off. And I came up with a different way of doing it. This doesn't need it, but I'd already taken these off. So apparently I got the other side right. This side, I put this gear in backwards. So that's my problem. So that was my problem. So I'm gonna attach this to the video of fixing this lawnmower. This is the absolute final look at this. This Toro recycler. Now hear me out on this. The story. I bought this Toro recycler. It had a Tecumseh engine on it. Here it is. I bought it for $5. My county has an Earth Day event where you can take pretty much anything and they'll recycle it. And I went over and disposed of a old TV. They charged for that. But when they were there, I saw that they had some lawnmowers. So I basically said, you know, I'll buy some. You know, I see you have some lawnmowers over there. I fix lawnmowers as a hobby. Can I buy some of them from you for up to 2 for $5 each? Well, this was one of the ones I got. It had a Tecumseh engine on it that had the bottom half of the engine block was cracked. I really had gotten it for the parts. My neighbor's parents had a Toro with a Tecumseh engine on it, and I wanted to. The starter recoil was having some issues, so if I needed to change the starter recoil, I could, you know, I had the part. Well, theirs was fine, so I got stuck with this. So I figured I'll try to get it to run, and I got the Tecumseh to run, but it was leaking oil too much. And then after further investigation and even replacing the shaft crank seal, I ended up taking off the bottom half of the engine, and I saw that it had a crack in it. It's not visible from the outside, but you still had a crack in it. So I couldn't knowingly put sealant on there and put it back together and sell it to somebody. That's just unethical. So since I knew this, the self-propelled worked on this, and I thought, you know, maybe I'd come across another engine. Well, I did. This Craftsman engine I pulled out of the trash. It was on another lawnmower, a Craftsman lawnmower, obviously. That its deck was completely beyond repair. But the engine was, I was able to. It was good. So I rebuilt the carburetor, replaced the float in the carburetor, and it was self-propelled. So I slapped it on this one. Then I had some issues with the self-propelled belt. It shredded up, and then I didn't have one that would fit it. So I recently ordered one from eBay. It's an off-brand, but it's the right size. It's 35 by I think it's 3/4 inch. Whereas the more modern Toros rear-wheel drives take 34 by 3/4 inch. So, and getting it on on here is not easy, especially when your shaft is fused to the adapter shaft is fused to the shaft. You actually have to take the engine off. Well, I got it all in, got the belt on, and then I had one wheel that would work and one wheel wouldn't. Drove me crazy, and it was also almost impossible to push. I mean, push as far as without the engine on. After setting it down, going eating lunch, coming back, thinking about it, and I thought, hey, maybe those spin gears were, I got it backwards on the one wheel, and apparently I did. If you have a problem where one wheel doesn't turn and the other wheel does, if you had recently took the gears out to do something and then put it back, you put it back wrong. You put the gear in backwards. So it matters. And so I'm going to give you a little demo of this as soon as I get my third hand. Oh, absolutely. It does have a mulching plug that I had when I bought it, and this bag is actually a Murray bag. It fits it. So, one of the things I do when you adjust the tension on the cable for the personal pace is I put a mark here. That's where it was with the old engine. So I just as a reference point that's a Sharpie. And this is a primer bulb style. And let's see. Works pretty good. Let's get the personal pace. So finally, after how many months, you know, I got this thing all ready to, you know, sell now or keep or use with a bag with mulching plug. I didn't have a side chute, so this was fun. I've never tried to replace a rear-wheel drive personal pace belt. I will post a link to the belt that I got. I got it off of eBay, and this is actually the one for the older models. Since this is so, you can't go to the big box stores and buy it there, because they have the one for the newer models, which is a different size. So next time, too. See you later.